Before we begin, a brief word. Secret World Legends is still under heavy NDA. This video and everything you see in it is part of a virtual tour given to me by Funcom and is an exception to the NDA, not an indication that the NDA has lifted. Beta participants are still unable to discuss, record or display parts of Secret World Legends. So, once again, the NDA on Secret World Legends is still in full effect. Thank you and enjoy the video. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you're watching this. I am Tim McDonald, we are PC Invasion, and this is Secret World Legends, the revamp, remaster, re-release of the Secret World, which is an MMO I have spent quite a lot of words talking about and writing about in the past, because I've always thought it was something a little bit special. Now, earlier on today, I spent an hour or so in the company of game director Romain Amiel, whose name I have probably just butchered, and community manager Andy Bendit, and they gave me a virtual tour of Secret World Legends, trying to get me up to speed on what's changed in this new version of the Secret World, why it's changed, and why this is for the better. And what I'm going to do in this video is kind of take you through character creation and the brand new tutorial. So we'll start off by clicking Create Character. And hopefully I'll be able to give you some idea of what some of the changes are, how they impact the game, give you an idea of where things stand in Secret World Legends at the moment. You can't import your characters directly across from the Secret World because lots of things have changed, but some things remain the same. Your first choice, for instance, is deciding whether you're going to side with the Illuminati, the Templars, or the Dragon. This is still not particularly... It's not a huge choice. It doesn't affect the thrust of the story in any real way. It just kind of changes the flavour of it a little bit. You know, changing which NPCs you'll be interacting with, who'll be giving you your missions, your the higher-ups, as it were. And, of course, which city is your home base. So, you know what, we will go with the Illuminati, because why not? So, first things first, character creation. The characters look pretty good. The character models have noticeably been updated a fair bit. One other thing you'll probably notice is that the only slider is character size. One other thing that you may have noticed, or in fact the same thing, because I'm silly, is that you don't have sliders for things like the head and the face and so on and so forth. Instead, you have defined presets. You can adjust these, certainly, depending on what sort of ethnicity you want to go for. In this case, I think we will go for something. I don't know. I quite like that sort of looks soft and sharp at the same time, so I like that. And we'll go for kind of a, I don't know, a mid skin tone, a bit tanned. I think that's all right. Face, there don't appear to be any options at the moment. Hair, there are many hairstyles. I believe that one of the things I was told today is that there are more hairstyles now than there were before, which is great. Because one of the things I really loved in the Secret World was dressing up my little character, and giving them all sorts of ridiculous hairstyles works quite nicely for that as well. All sorts of ridiculous hair colours as well. We could go with a nice bright green, or perhaps blue with a hint of pink, or with a hint of darker blue, or green, or, you know, boring standard colours, but who wants a boring standard colour? Forget that. Let's go with something, I don't know. I quite like that. I think that we're going to create a bit of a... We'll go for a bit of a punk rocker character. I mean, we are joining the Illuminati, New York, lots of clubbing, things like that, I'm sure. Eyebrows... Eyebrow selection is obviously a very important part of character creation, because, you know, you don't want to screw up your eyebrows. That would just be terrible. I think we'll go with those. Eye colour, we can go with slightly creepy bright red, but I don't know, I think a nice deep blue. Facial features, things like tattoos or scars. We can be covered in scars, you know, we've gotten into quite a lot of knife fights apparently. We can go for some slightly unorthodox tattoos, maybe some dirt, some of those which are sort of covered up by our pompadour. I think we'll just go for some scars. Maybe something fairly minor. We'll just have a little nose scar. Why not? And then makeup, where we have sort of fairly standard makeup sets, as well as, you know, no makeup if we want to go for the natural look. Or we can go for the truly freaky stuff. Kind of go for a Joker style smile there, or you know, maybe some camo war paint. No, I think, you know, fitting in with the punk rocker vibe, we'll just go for something a little bit more basic. A little bit dark. Yeah, I quite like that. And character size we will leave where it is, I suppose. Clothing. The Secret World had loads of clothing. Secret World Legends is no exception to that, although obviously not everything is selectable at the start. There are lots of hats, which we're not going to be using, because that will cover up our amazing hairstyle. We could go for some funky hipster glasses, maybe some giant aviators. You know what, I quite like our eyes, our makeup, so no, we don't want to cover that up. We'll deal with the coat first of all. You will probably recognise a fair few of these if you have played the Secret World. They haven't changed a great deal. I really hope that didn't break the video recording. Yeah, we'll go with... I don't know. Oh, yeah, I like that. I think that fits quite well. What colour hood, though? I think red. Red looks good. Legs, I think we'll just... some basic jeans. Yeah, I think some fairly basic jeans will work quite nicely. And shoes. We could go for some trainers. I quite like those, actually, but maybe something a bit more... Okay, yeah, giant boots. That'll do nicely. Brown. Blue. We'll go with the brown, I think. So there we go. There's our character, ready to explore the secret world and fight all sorts of vampires and demons and things. Now the next choice is one that is entirely new, which is selecting a class. The secret world is famously a classless MMO, and this is something that is still very true of Secret World Legends. You do still have access to every weapon and every ability. This is just kind of part of the new player experience, I guess you could call it. Kind of aiming to give you a bit of direction at the start so you're not overwhelmed by the fact that there are about 500 abilities to pick from as you gain skill points and ability points and try to build a character that can actually have an effect on things. So in this case they fit into basic archetypes. Archetypes? Yes. The Ravager, for instance, has fists and blood magic, and favoured role is healer. We also have difficulty at the bottom there, because some weapons are a little bit trickier to use than others, some roles are a little bit trickier, they require a little bit more balance, which is something that we will go into in a little while. But yeah, you are not stuck into these in any way, shape or form, thankfully. So what we could go with assassin, maybe. Got a bit of a Kill Bill look going on there. So yeah, well, why not? We'll go with assassin. It won't impact this too much. Our nickname for this character will be PCI, fairly obviously, and the character herself can be called Jane Doe because I'm too lazy to think up something else, and I will probably not be using this character in future. And yeah, rather than using the Kill Bill outfit, we'll stick with our default. So there we go. Now, I am going to skip through most of the cutscenes. If you really want to watch them, then I have no doubt you can find them on YouTube. They are pretty much exactly the same as they were in the Secret World. Essentially, you swallow a bee and get magic powers. It makes a lot more sense in context, believe me. One thing that is new, we're about to see now, is the tutorial. Previously you were kind of dumped straight into the game, and you did have the Tokyo flashback to help out, which still exists. But first of all you have this, which introduces you to things a little bit. And I'm going to be honest, if I woke up to find that my room was opening onto a creepy graveyard, I'd probably have freaked out a little bit more than that. Hello. You're a fairly familiar face.
The world trembles.
You've woken up in your bedroom, which has transported into a small cemetery. Proceed forward and learn more about this dream that you are unable to wake up from. Okay, let's do that. Our first quest is to move through the cemetery gate, and one thing you will have noticed if you've played the Secret World is that now everything is sort of third-person directly controlled, rather than traditional MMO. There is mouse look, there is a targeting reticle in the centre. It takes a little bit of time to get used to. A tap of Alt brings up HUD interaction mode, which is where you can kind of go through your various menus and bits and pieces. But first of all, we need our weapon. And because we picked Assassin, that gives us a sword. Ephemeral blade. Let's walk over to the Dream Architect again. We need to destroy the dead, which sounds good. Let's see what our abilities are before we do that. Our left mouse button ability, because some of these are now bound to your mouse buttons. Point blank area of effect attack, which is a big spinny thing around me and hits enemies. And we have flowing strike, which does 5 physical damage. This uses up blade energy, and this does not appear to do so. So there's a zombie who we can kind of bash about a bit. We can spin around, use our blade energy, and murder the poor trapped zombie. The next step in this quest is to murder more zombies, because that's what zombies are there for, really. This is probably a good time for our AoE attacks. And yeah, there is kind of the actual targeting reticle, which is a little bit different. There is also quite a lot else that's different about the way weapons work, which we are going to learn in just a moment. I do love those slightly creepy voices, which again will be familiar if you've played the Secret World.
The Watchers will intervene only in dreams and only once. Every weapon becomes a unique focus for your abilities. Spin through the air, find your rhythm. The blade is a spirit forged of will. You will teach your enemies to dance.
Now, here is one of the interesting things about this. Every single weapon type, of which there are 9, I think, I can't quite remember, assault rifles, pistols, shotguns, blades, fists, hammers, chaos magic, elementalism, blood magic. 9, yes, wow, I was right. Every single weapon has a specialty, which kind of affects how they work. In this instance with blades, attacks have a 50% chance to build up your chi. When you maximise your chi, you can forge your spirit blade, which makes attacks hit an extra time. While the spirit blade is forged, gain chi and spend it to increase its duration. So we now have an extra ability, which is spirit blade. When the spirit blade is shattered, that forges our chi. When our spirit blade is forged, we can reforge it to increase the duration we have it. Okay, let's beat up this guy a bit. You can already see that the little meter down there is filling up. Alright, let's forge our spirit blade, and now we've got a lovely glow effect, and we are presumably doing more stuff. We can reforge that, and then it will slowly time out, and our spirit blade will shatter once more. Every single weapon has a unique specialisation like that. Elementalism, for instance, which is kind of the magic of fireballs and hurling lightning bolts and so on and so forth, that has a heat-up mechanic, where as you use abilities that cause your heat to increase, your abilities will do more damage. But if your heat rises up to full, then you overheat, and most of your abilities suddenly won't work anymore. And to counterbalance this, you have cooldown abilities, which lower the level of heat you have. So with elementalism, you kind of have a balancing act between using, keeping your heat level high to inflict more damage, and lowering it to make sure that you don't actually overheat. Which is nice. I like that every single weapon has something unique to this. It adds a unique feel to the weapons, perhaps unsurprisingly. Okay, let's kill off more zombies. In this instance, we need to now beat up another slightly bigger zombie. Hello there. And yes, once again, you can move while attacking, because this is the secret world, and that's one of the things I really, really like about the secret world. There we go, he's dead. He dropped a lever handle. Ah, Revenants, one of the Secret World's cooler enemies. It's nice to see that they're making a nice early appearance in Secret World Legends.
Revenants do not follow the call. They follow death. You cannot leave this place while it lives. Be agile. Be confident. Your life depends upon it.
And this is our introduction to dodging, where essentially if you either hold shift and tap a movement key, or double tap a key, then you dodge out of the way. Which is, you know, useful, because as we're about to notice, whenever he pops up, there he is, he's going to start doing big AoE attacks, and we kind of need to keep out of the way of them. I really love, one of the things I always liked about the Secret World is the rather wonderful monster and enemy design. The world building in general, to be perfectly honest with you. Ah, that one hit me, didn't dodge fast enough. Apologies for the rather loud keyboard sounds. And there we go. Now we can send our mission reports to claim reward. The Illuminati are watching me in my dreams somehow. That's quite creepy. But they've given me a nice little waste talisman. And as per usual in the Secret World, things like that, your talismans, your armour, your equipment, they don't change the way you look. Weapons do, but nothing else. Well, that's not too much of a problem because, you know, you have the dressing room where you can get all sorts of wonderful looking items which you can buy with in-game currency, real-world money and so on and so forth, which is one of the free-to-play element things that I will probably be talking about a little bit in the written article that will accompany this. So on we go into the next part. That's kind of taught us about combat and our primary weapon type. This section, which is set in Egypt, which is the second of the Secret World's locales, this is going to teach us about investigation missions. In this case, we need to look around for clues to figure out how to leave, which in this case involves picking up a torch, yes thank you, and pressing a button. Difficult stuff. Investigation missions are one of the other things that I always really liked about the Secret World, and as far as I can tell, they're still perfectly present and correct in Secret World Legends, and in case you're wondering, yeah, I'm stepping on the floor tiles as indicated by the giant symbols on the wall, because those are presumably safe and won't murder me. Investigation missions are the ones that kind of require you to actually think. Use Google Foo. You might need to look at Bible passages or translate Morse codes to give a couple of examples from fairly early on. They're not mandatory, but they are some of the more rewarding ones, and if you actually like to think, they are good fun. Investigation is quite a good word for what they require you to do. In this instance, we've got a door. It has 3 symbols above it. We have 3 lines in a squiggle, we have a shape that looks sort of like a person, and we have a sickle. So, I'm going to guess we need to press those corresponding wall tiles in order. So there's the 3 lines in the squiggle. Let's press that. Where's the person? There's the person. Press that. I should know, I don't actually think that people look like that. There is nothing wrong with my eyes to that extent. It's just kind of a shorthand version for what that is. And there is the thing that looks vaguely like a sickle. Sure enough, riddle solved. That's not grim at all. And down we go into the third part.
They are the cats prowling at the walls of reality. You are
This section of the tutorial, where our seemingly abandoned facility with strange emblems of a crimson fist seen on various walls and crates. This part, which is in Transylvania, which is the third of the Secret World and indeed Secret World Legends locales, This introduces us to sabotage missions, which rely a little bit more on stealth. Again, this is kind of tutorial land, so it's not too tricky. Those are landmines. Let's not walk on them. Those are laser trip mines. Let's not walk through them. Let's try to jump over this one. We succeeded. Excellent. And here we have an electrified floor, which we can deactivate with this handy control console. Now if we proceed onwards a little bit more. We are going to be told that there is a big nasty monster ahead, which we kind of have to avoid and find another way of dealing with. Thankfully it has a giant cone showing where it's looking, which makes this an awful lot easier than it probably would be otherwise. If we just run around behind it, that's a useful looking control console. And he's electrified. And apparently now so am I, because I didn't wait for the electricity to leave the water first. So if we have a look at the war machine, it has on its chassis 3691, and the little pop-up there was telling us we can check our journal to see images and quest hints and so on and so forth, which are not usually present so much in investigation missions because they require you to actually do independent research. 3691, and the door opens. Once again, we send our mission report, we get another little bag, and we're now level 2. Yes, levels, something else that's rather new about this, which is not something I can really easily go into in this tutorial video because parts of the interface are still a bit locked off.
Hurry. We have no time to spare. Shouldn't we consult the Council of Venice first? Now is not the time for argument.
What was that?
Well,
Something's coming out of the ground.
Go now.
Times Square is a bit fucked. And this is the end part of the tutorial where we get to join some of the other secret worlders in a fight against the unutterable Lurker, a level 50 enemy with big hands. So, you know, we can run up and hack ineffectually at it with our sword because it's got 526,000 health. So yeah, you take that, you giant monster. Well, that's a hell of a way to wake up. We skip past that cutscene. We skip past that cutscene. And you know what, why not? We'll let this one play out briefly.
Somebody's been bad. I approve. Mind if I come in? Time is ticking, so I'll cut straight to the chase. I work in talent acquisition, specializing in a highly unconventional sector for a very particular client. And they're particularly interested in your kind of talent. Fucking stuff up, putting it back together, altering the fabric of space and time, basic thaumaturgy. My client is only interested in the best of the best. That's where I come in. Your talent is raw, but it's obvious. My client has the means to refine that talent and make the most of what you've got, and I'm not talking about money. Well, not just money. Protection, power, the best parties in the biz. We're prepared to give you a unique opportunity, a chance to prove you've got what it takes to hang with the big boys and girls, to rule the world. It's up to you to grab that opportunity by the balls. Based on what I've seen so far, you might be what I'm looking for, or you might end up dead. Time will tell. Tick-tock. You have an appointment tomorrow in Brooklyn that I'd recommend you keep. There's no address. Consider this the commencement of your official interview. Find us, or we'll find you. My client has eyes everywhere. Don't be stupid. Later, Gator.
I do love the dialogue in the Secret World. The dialogue, the story, the world building, all of it. So that's kind of our introduction to New York and the Illuminati. If you've played The Secret World, you will remember that there is a tutorial section. It had its own tutorial section, which was the Tokyo subway flashback, which is still present in this. It's just slightly different, as that's what introduces you to your second weapon. We won't be going through that here. One other thing that we won't be going through is the final part of the tutorial, which is inside the faction's base, which is where it kind of teaches you a little bit about weapon upgrades, things like that, because that's one of the other new features. Yes, skip that cutscene. Ah, beautiful New York. Yeah, that's one of the other features which I can't really show at the moment, which is the ability to upgrade your weapons and equipment, which you can kind of slot your trash gear in to upgrade your weapons, give them a stat boost, make them a little bit more effective, which, as I mentioned, is kind of one of the other things that's changed. Hopefully that's given you a bit of a look at some of the changes that Secret World Legends has made to the base game, particularly with regards to character creation and, well, the interface itself, which is certainly going to take a little bit of getting used to, but not necessarily in a bad way. I'll be talking more about this in the written piece, which should be accompanying this video. It might go up before the video, it might go up after, it might go up at the same time. Either way, keep your eyes out for that. Check PCinvasion.com regularly. Thank you for watching, and remember, dark days are coming.